Hey friends, Claire Cookie Crumb Fun here, homeschool mom to 7 and a Trim Healthy Mama eater. I would love for you to join in this video by watching it and supporting the other channels, especially Ingrid over at Mommy and Me Homeschool Chronicles, because it was another one of her wonderful ideas, homeschooling in the kitchen. So stay tuned and see how we homeschooled in the kitchen using our fun schooling books and some recipes we found throughout the internet and stories in history. So as I mentioned, this is a homeschool collaboration that I'm joining with Ingrid over at Mommy and Mia Homeschool Chronicles. Go ahead and check out her channel and see what she's doing with Mia for homeschooling in the kitchen, because there are many ways that you can homeschool in the kitchen. It's not just cooking the food. As we all know, there's math involved, all right? So say you only have a quarter of a cup and you need a cup of something. You could teach your child, you know, like, oh no, all of a sudden I lost all of the measuring cups. All I have is the quarter of a cup, and they have to figure things out. All right, there's spelling, there's reading, there's vocabulary, because reading the directions on the recipes is really a new thing for kids. Be like following step-by-step directions teaches them to follow directions, you know? Because if you skip a step, you can, like if you're making chocolate chip cookies and you skip a step, you can totally change the cookies. Or if you're making like a cream sauce and you forget something, as we kind of did in one of our recipes, we got a little mixed up. Well, you know what? You have to follow directions to make it all work out. Now, it did end up working out because it all mixed up well together. But something like with biscuits, if you don't add the right amount of something, or if you use something instead of something, I mean, there have been times where my teenagers have made pancakes and they got the baking soda and the baking powder mixed up. Yeah, at least it wasn't the salt, right? Yeah. So anyway, we are a homeschooling family, and we use a lot of fun schooling books. We changed it back in August to try out the fun schooling, and we have all sorts of different journals that we use. I'll have links below to my fun schooling list of journals on Amazon in case you're interested, and they also have a Facebook group, so if you want to go check that out. But today we're going to do some homeschooling in the kitchen. I'm going to show you a bunch of footage of us making food and reading stories about history behind the different foods and talk about the countries that they're from. But what I wanted to do first is show you what we use for our homeschooling that we used in this collaboration type thing, all right? Now, one of the books that we use that is from the Thinking Tree is Travel Dreams Fun Schooling Journal. This is 30 Fascinating Cities. Right now, we're kind of stuck in San Francisco. I mean, we do live in the Bay Area, so we chose that one to do first, but there have been so much that we've learned about San Francisco that we didn't know about, and we learned the history of the gold rush, we learned the history behind the Golden Gate Bridge, we learned about all the earthquakes, all sorts of different things about San Francisco have been so amazing. And there are things that we learned about San Francisco that people who have lived here all their lives had no idea. We went to church and we asked, we're like, hey, did you know this? They're like, oh, I didn't know that. So it's really, really neat, the things that we've learned. So I recommend this because it has 30 different cities, and your child could go all around the world visiting those cities in your homeschool for geography, for history, for all sorts of things. Another one we used is Brazil, as one of those countries that not everybody really takes time to learn about, because we're thinking, oh, we want something exciting like Australia or something. She's watching a video. And this has been a lot of fun because we then jumped into learning about the Amazon, and that has been a lot of fun. And another one, this one's been my favorite, is Italy. I've really enjoyed this because I have Italian roots. My great-great-great-grandparents, either great-great or 3 times great, came over from Italy. And so my maiden name is Italian. And so this one has been so much fun. And my kids, the funnest thing that we've learned about so far has been Venice, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and then all the stuff that comes from Italy. All their products like, you know, Prada and Gucci and Lamborghinis. That's what my kids are most interested in that we've learned so far. So this has been a lot of fun. And another one that's like a lot of fun is Egypt. I love Egyptian history because this is like the beginning of time history. You know, if you go in, go look up biblical history, everything began, you know, the Egyptians is like the beginnings of what we remember throughout history, and they're involved in so many of the stories in the Bible, and the, you know, children of Israel, the being held, you know, captive prisoner, Joseph, so much, okay? And then we tried different foods and stuff from that anyway. And then the other one that we use is Travel Dreams 7 amazing continents. This is awesome for geography, for history, for writing, for reading. These books cover all your subjects. But be on the lookout at the end of the video about something about this one. I love this one. And we used Australia in this one. That's the one that the children chose. So we learned a lot about Australian history, and we went and used videos on YouTube. We watched the original crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin, when he first began. We read a Who Was book about Steve Irwin. We learned about Uluru. We learned about the Outback, the Aborigines. We learned so much amazing history about Australia, and we're not even done yet. The coral reef, we even did a hands-on project about the coral reef, and it's just been so amazing. So what I want to share with you is how we used homeschooling in the kitchen. All right, so we can get into that so you can see what we're cooked up. We had the children all sit around and we each chose some meals from different countries, and we printed out the recipes, and we got together and we planned out what we were going to eat. Now, each of us has probably 2 or 3 different recipes that we wanted. But to make things simple and not hard on me to coordinate this, we picked a drink, we picked an appetizer, we picked a main dish, a side dish, and then we ended up having 2 desserts because they were so easy to make. And then throughout the next coming weeks, we're going to be doing more Brazilian food, Egyptian food, and Italian food, because we still have recipes that we want to try. But for this video, you'll see in just a few minutes of the different foods that we make from the different countries. And when I read the different historical things of the foods, I was amazed by some of these foods, and where they get their names from has been pretty cool. The food from Brazil has a big significance in history. This big story in history, you know, for Brazil. And then the Australian food that we eat was really, really interesting. And then the Italian food was just, was so good. I did not eat on plan this whole day. I ate sugar and I ate pasta. It was so good. The kids did such an amazing job cooking all this food. But we didn't necessarily, I want to be honest with you, we didn't necessarily bring a whole lot of math into the kitchen with this. I love history right now. It's like my favorite subject to teach. So I use the history aspect in the cooking because we did the history behind some of these foods, and that's what I'm going to share with you in the video. The rest of this video is the history behind some of the foods that we made. And then stay tuned at the end for a little something about this book, okay? You never know what might be there. So stay tuned and watch us cook in the kitchen, and how we homeschool in the kitchen, and how we brought homeschooling into the kitchen. And if you are a YouTuber and you want to join in on this, you can go ahead and make a video and just add it to the playlist. Let us know, Ingrid or I, that you made one, and what subjects you used and how you applied it into cooking in the kitchen. And don't forget to check out the playlist when we're done, and Ingrid's channel, and see what awesome things the other channels cooked up in the kitchen with their homeschool. So I will see you at the end, and enjoy us cooking and all the history involved. All right, who wants to tell me what we're eating?
Me. We're eating fairy bread.
And what country does fairy bread come from?
Brazil.
Nope.
No. Australia.
Australia.
Yes,
Sorry.
it's an Australian food. And does anybody remember the history that I just told you about? Who was listening a minute ago?
I do.
Okay, Carter and Abigail, you two tell me what you remember of what I told you.
They
About fairy bread.
mostly have this birthday parties.
Children's parties.
Children's parties.
Do you remember when it started?
Yes, in 1920 in a rhyme. Right?
In
No,
the
a poem.
20s.
In the 1920s, there was a poem made.
Well, no, the poem wasn't made in the 20s.
It was made
The
after
20s
poem.
is when the fairy bread started.
It was made
Okay,
after the poem.
put the flour back, young man.
It's
Right? And it's just but they think it was based on that poem.
Yes.
By Robert Louis Stevenson, and this is a copy of the tiny poem called Fairy Bread. Would any of you boys like to read this?
Me.
Jameson, you want to read that to us?
I read.
Go ahead.
Come up here, oh dusty feet. Here is fairy bread to eat. Here in my rattling room. Children, you may dine on
can
the
eat it.
golden
You can eat.
smell
Sorry.
of broom and the shade of pine. Pine.
It's a good.
And when you have eaten well,
It's a good Jackson.
fairy
Jackson's
tales
not happy.
or fairy stories here all tall.
Very good.
Tall.
All right, so they say that it might be based, taken from that poem, but this is something that is eaten by children, mostly for breakfast, in Australia and New Zealand.
Australia.
Now we were learning about Australia and we were using this, Travel Dreams Geography, 7 Amazing Continents, and we were learning about Australia, if I can find Australia right here. And so we're eating food from, we learned about the Great Barrier Reef earlier. There we go, Australia.
Don't get it on my field.
Don't worry, I won't get in your butter. So this is what we're using to learn about Australia, and we decided to have some appetizers today. How was it?
Good.
Good.
Not as good as deep fried pickles.
Well, deep fried Twinkies, deep fried butter. Of course that would be better. All right.
Non più tra i farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno di torno girano, delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcisetto a dolcino d'amor. Delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcisetto a dolcino d'amor. Non più avrai questi bei panacchini, quel cappello leggero galante, quella chioma, quell'aria brillante, quel vermiglio d'onesco color, quel vermiglio d'onesco color. Non più avrai quei panacchini, quel cappello, quella chioma, quell'aria brillante. Non chiudrai farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno di torno girando, delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcisetto a dolcino d'amor.
Couscous with olives and sun-dried tomatoes.
What country is it from? Do you remember? Of the countries we studied, which one is it from?
Brazil?
You don't remember?
Egypt?
Yes.
Egypt.
Ah. So we got couscous over there. We're supposed to use Israeli couscous, but we didn't have it at Winco, so I didn't feel like going to Sprouts to see if they had it. So we're going to let that liquid simmer up a little bit, and then we're going to add it to the couscous and put pine nuts on top. This smells really, really good. This is Egyptian food. Who would have thought? But couscous is used over there a lot. And look at Jackson's Italian pasta. What did you make?
I made spinach tomato tortellini.
We doubled the recipe. Oh, that looks so good. I'm going to use this sauce, but I'm going to have to use almond milk instead of the regular milk, and glucose instead of flour to trim healthy mommify it. So I will have links below to all these recipes that we found at allrecipe.com, so that if you want to try them at home, you can. They look so, so good.
I'm gonna eat it all.
Slowly putting it away. All right, so we'll come back in a minute when it's all done. We just made our Egyptian milk, and then we're going to dig into our Egyptian couscous and our Italian pasta. We're all going to sit at the table and pray. He just added fruit to milk. That is what the Egyptian recipe was. And so the first one was strawberries in milk, and the next one's going to be the guava nectar, because it listed guava and strawberries for the main ingredients. Jackson, you made the
spinach-
pasta.
The spinach tomato tortellini.
How is it?
Delicious.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
I had 3. This is my 3rd help.
She's had 3 helpings. Oh, sorry. Now Abigail didn't like the milk, and Jackson doesn't like the milk. It's like I looked up Egyptian recipes, and it came out to be you drank yours. It's just fresh fruit added to milk, but Quinn made it and added more sugar to it. You said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it thick like a milkshake? Yeah. And Jameson, you made the most amazing couscous you got there on your plate. Egyptian couscous. How do you like that?
Good.
It's really good. Those pine nuts on it really do add some tastiness to it, don't they? Yep. You didn't like it? That's okay. Eat
Not
that.
really.
That was really, really,
Yes.
really, really good. And you cooked it
Yep.
with some assistance. And you cooked it with some assistance. He cooked his all by himself.
Yeah.
Kendall made the fairy bread we ate earlier that you saw.
Yeah.
Abigail and Carter each made a dessert, and Amelia helped with the fairy bread. My plate is empty. I'm going to Trim Healthy Momify this recipe, so look forward to that soon. It
Okay.
was so good. Now it is time for dessert. Abigail, what did you make?
The peanut butter fudge.
Brazilian peanut butter fudge. It's a very, very easy recipe, no bake recipe. So you pass the fudge around. All right, Jackson, let me look at your chocolates. Carter, what did you make?
These are brigadeiros.
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 Let's move this. Now, we looked up what, if these had meant anything and had any historical significance or anything in, if this food had any we looked up to see if this food had any historical stories behind it, and the brigadeiros, which are these chocolate, they're like a bonbon, all right? Isn't the inside of it kind of like, yeah, they're supposed to be with sprinkles, but we ran out of the chocolate sprinkles and used cocoa. So they are like fudgy inside, aren't they?
Very fudgy. Look.
Yeah, here's
That's what it looks
the
like.
inside. So just think of it as a bonbon chocolate. And we found out that there's a really neat story to it. I have it right here. I already read it to the children, and we have it printed out. I'll try to just maybe I can remember to link in Wikipedia the information that we have here. All right, so the story with the Brigadeiro, it was after World War II.
One.
No, two. 1945.
Oh.
World War I was way earlier.
Oh.
That was the time Al Capone that we were just watching about the
yeah.
massacre. Okay, so shortly after World War II had ended, and Brazil was having an election, and the man who was running for president, his name was Eduardo Gomes, and he just happened to be single and handsome. So the slogan was vote for the brigadier who was handsome and single. So he was a brigadier. That was his highest rank in the military. So the ladies all wanted to make candy, these little chocolates, to sell to raise money for his campaign. And so they ended up nicknaming these chocolates Brigadeiro after the brigadier man, what did I say his name was? Eduardo Gomes. So I thought that was really neat. And they didn't have, it was right after the war, so sugar and milk was not in high abundance, so they had to, that's when they switched it to sweetened condensed milk, cocoa, and a little bit of butter. So the peanut butter fudge, I tasted it when we were making it, and it was really yummy. It was very sweet. That the peanut butter fudge is just a basic Brazilian recipe that we looked up at All Recipe, and it was just food that they eat, and it was. Right, it's so no I'm bake hungry now. Watching all of that food be made. Oh, I'm hungry. While I edited this video, I'm sure I'm gonna be like wishing I had some of that food too. It was so good. The kids did such an amazing job cooking up all the food. And the desserts were so super simple. I'll have links as best I can below to each of the recipes. I believe we got them all off of All Recipes. That's a great place to find recipes. You just type in the country and it comes up with all these amazing recipes. I did that for when we learned about Japan and China. This was, I think it was before Christmas, wasn't it? And then we had Chinese food and we had Japanese food. The Japanese food was so good. It was a chicken that I changed the recipe to Trim Healthy Mommified it. And it was so good. The only thing that was different was instead of coating it in flour, I coated it in almond flour, and they still tasted so good. It was so good. So anyway, on to what I was talking about earlier. If you enjoyed this, I hope you did. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know how you homeschool in the kitchen, and go ahead and check out the playlist in Ingrid's channel to see what they're cooking up in the kitchen. But I wanted to talk to you about this book because one of you will be able to win a copy of this Seven Amazing Continents from the Thinking Tree. Sarah Janice Brown created these for her family, and now so many thousands of people around America are using these, and they're awesome. She gave me one to look at and try and apply with our family, and I just love this. We've learned so much about geography, about the country itself. Now, it has all the 7 continents, as I said, so you can see that it, you know, it has a table of contents in it and stuff. And then they're all basically the same. It's repetitive, but it's different for each country. So I'm going to go to Australia, where we works, and I think I passed it, didn't I? Yeah, no, it's right here. And North America, South America, where is it? I did go past it. Okay, Australia, okay? So it has a place where you can write down all the size of its population and all that sort of thing. And then it has areas for wonders of the world. Each one has about 3 or 4 pages where you can look up the natural wonder, the ancient wonder, man-made wonders of the world on these pages. And we looked up the coral reef, spent a lot of time learning about the reef. Then my children went and learned about Uluru, and there's a place where you can write and draw. And there's all sorts of things that you can learn. And let's see, there's a place for animals. You can learn about the animals in Australia, and you can list them. And then you list the provinces of Australia. So that was neat, and learning all that. And then they have a place of like where you can plan a trip. All right, there's a place for drawing and a movie time. So I know that everybody would love to try to win one of these because this is an awesome book. You can learn about the music of the continents and favorite things about the continent. So, and it has all 7 continents in it, and it has a different page for each of them. So if you would like to win a copy of this, I would just like for you to put down in the comments below what your favorite subject is to teach in homeschooling. And by answering that question, that will be an automatic entry into winning one of these. I will have this open for a week. So I will close it out Sunday night, and then we'll try to announce a winner throughout the week after, you know, in a week. So if you'd like to win this Fun Schooling Journal, I'll have a link below so you can see videos on it. I believe April did a video on this one, didn't you, April? I'll try to find her video and link that down below, The Simple Rugged Path. And you can probably go on Amazon, take a peek through it, and I'll try to do a little flip through on Instagram, maybe post some pictures and different things. But I have one of these to give to you, so if you want to enter and win it, just go ahead and put down in the comments what your favorite homeschool subject is to teach. You, the mom, homeschool mom, what do you enjoy teaching? Mine is history. I love teaching history right now because the mystery of history has opened my eyes to so much history. But anyway, back to homeschooling in the kitchen. Thank you so much for watching this video and for supporting my channel and watching this homeschool video. Head on over to the playlist, head on over to Mommy Mia Homeschool Chronicles and see what they're cooking in the kitchen with their homeschool. And I hope you enjoyed it, and all the recipe links are below that we used. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time with another homeschooling video. And be sure to enter what's your favorite subject to teach homeschool mama. All right, I will see you next time with another video. Bye, be a blessing.